Welcome to Seeing Green Solutions for Our Daily Lives, the podcast where we spotlight the brands, ideas, and people making it easier to live sustainably every day. Today's episode is part of our Spotlight series, a deep dive into one of our Seeing Green Solutionists of the day. And now, today's solution.
Welcome, listeners, to episode 26 of the Seeing Green podcast. Today's episode is part of our Seeing Green Spotlight series, where we take a closer look at the Seeing Green Solutionist of the day and the real solutions they bring to help us all be, healthier and greener in our daily lives. And since today, as we record this, is Saturday, well, we thought we'd turn to a topic that is always a popular request with you, our listeners, sustainable spirits. Today, we're undertaking a deep dive into the world of Two Drifters Distillery.
Okay, great choice. But before we jump into the source material, just two quick reminders for you. First, if you enjoy the topic of sustainable spirits, please check out our prior deep dives. We looked at Grey Whale Gin and also Eller's Farm Distillery. Really interesting stuff there, too. And second, of course, a crucial safety note. We ask that you be of legal drinking age in your location. And please always drink responsibly. That's super important.
Absolutely. And if you enjoy this deep dive, please subscribe to the podcast and follow us at Seeing Green Eco across social media. Okay, let's unpack this then. We are diving into a UK-based distillery, and they've made this headline-grabbing, pretty extraordinary claim that they are the world's first carbon-negative rum producer.
It's a massive claim, a huge undertaking, really. And I think to fully appreciate their solution, we first need to define the problem a bit, the environmental footprint of the spirits industry. It's significant, yeah, but it's also easily overlooked.
How so?
Well, it's not like, plastic waste floating in the ocean. It's not a visible pollutant in the same way. It's mostly CO2 from the energy used, which is completely invisible.
Right. So unlike a physical waste problem, these carbon emissions are often the silent hidden costs built into every single bottle.
Exactly. And when you look at where that invisible footprint accumulates in the spirit sector, we can kind of break it down into four main categories. First, there's farming and ingredients. Think about the impact of growing the raw materials like sugarcane for rum or molasses, and then the associated use of pesticides, fertilizers, all that has to be factored in.
Okay, farming. What's next?
Second is production, energy, and water. Distillation itself. It's an extremely energy-intensive process. Traditionally, many distilleries run on gas-fired boilers. Huge carbon output right there. And water usage is also massive, often for cooling systems, which can waste just vast amounts of mains water that literally goes down the drain.
Right. Energy and water. Got it. Number three.
Third is packaging and bottles. We're talking about the sheer weight of the glass, its material density, and also where that glass is actually manufactured and what materials are used for things like labels and seals. Glass is a massive energy sink to produce.
And the last one.
Finally, there's shipping and logistics. Just moving raw materials like molasses across oceans, sometimes halfway around the world, and then distributing the finished product globally. That all adds up significantly.
Okay, so those are the big four hurdles: farming, energy, packaging, and shipping. Which means the definition of a truly sustainable spirit has to somehow clear all of them, right? Simultaneously.
Pretty much, yeah.
So a sustainable spirit is one crafted with responsibly grown ingredients using efficient low-waste production methods and packaging that uses lighter, maybe recycled or reusable materials.
Exactly. And beyond just the product itself, it ideally should emphasize things like fair wages and community investment, while committing to cut carbon emissions, protect water sources, and even restore ecosystems where possible. It's really a holistic commitment, respecting both people and the planet.
And that sounds precisely like the framework Two Drifters seems to have designed their business around.
It does indeed.
So let's start with their origin story. Who are they? Two Drifters was founded in Exeter, UK back in 2019.
Right.
By a husband and wife team, Russ and Gemma Wakeham.
Right.
And apparently the whole venture was sparked by a shared love of rum. Their very first date actually was a rum tasting. Kind of romantic.
Yeah.
The name itself, Two Drifters, apparently evokes that sense of adventure and togetherness. It's inspired by the song Moon River. Gemma even walked down the aisle to it. They moved back to Devon from Vancouver to pursue this dream.
That romantic origin story is sweet, absolutely. But what makes this brand, I think, truly unique is how Russ, the husband, who's a chemist, how he overlaid his professional background directly onto that love of rum.
Okay, how so?
Well, Ron has deep expertise in carbon capture, storage, and utilization. Real scientific chops. He essentially decided to apply the science of fighting climate change directly to their own supply chain, making the invisible visible, as he puts it.
Interesting. And Gemma?
Gemma, meanwhile, she focuses on the storytelling and the brand identity, making all that complex science, approachable and palatable for consumers. They actually started out as both a brewery and a distillery.
Coolly.
Yeah, but the demand for their rum just surged so quickly that they fully converted. Now they focus solely on rum production. They scaled really rapidly from just 80 bottles a week initially to over 2,000 bottles per week now.
Wow. That's some growth.
Yeah.
And their mission reflects that dual commitment, right? Business growth and sustainability.
Totally. They aim to capture 1% of the UK rum market by 2028 and 1% of the global rum market by 2035, which is ambitious. But, crucially, doing it all while maintaining that strict carbon negative footprint.
It's an aggressive goal, but yeah, a compelling dual mission. Great rum and climate responsibility. So let's taste the results of all this science, metaphorically speaking. What does their core lineup look like?
Okay, they offer 4 main expressions currently. There's the pure white rum, a signature rum, which is aged, a lightly spiced rum, and a pineapple overproof rum. They were even featured on BBC's The Hairy Bikers, apparently.
Oh, wow. Okay. Popular stuff now.
Seems so. And a key differentiator here is that they make their rum completely from scratch, on-site, in the UK, starting with the fermentation of 100% molasses.
And why is that important?
Well, it's critical because many rums you might see marketed as British actually just import finished bulk rum from the Caribbean or elsewhere. Two Drifters maintains total control and therefore total carbon accountability right from the very beginning of the process.
Gotcha. Control equals accountability. And what about the flavor profile? Is it unique too?
It seems quite distinct. The spiced expressions use those warm, classic notes like vanilla and star anise, which you'd expect. But they also partnered with local chocolatiers to use waste cacao husks in the process.
Cacao husks. Interesting.
Yeah, so it doesn't just reduce food waste. It apparently deepens both the flavor and the color of the rum naturally. Pretty clever.
That is clever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now let's talk about the big one. Their carbon negative model. You said it's a game changer.
It really is, because it's not just about planting some trees to offset emissions, which some companies do. It's about a complete re-engineering of the financial structure of the business itself.
Right. This is where it gets really interesting from what I read. They operate with this self-imposed financial mechanism. They call it a carbon tax.
Exactly that. Co-founder Russ Wakeham, the chemist, made a strategic financial choice. The company internally penalizes itself financially for creating any emissions at all.
Okay.
This makes it financially cheaper for them to actively avoid generating emissions in the first place than it is to pay the necessary price later to permanently remove those emissions from the atmosphere.
Wait, let me stop you there, because that sounds like it turns the traditional cost equation completely on its head. That sounds incredibly expensive. You're building in the upfront costs of avoidance measures and paying for removal infrastructure later. How do they manage to stay competitive selling bottles of rum when they're essentially taxing themselves internally and, as you'll get to, paying to turn CO2 into stone? Is this scalable, or is it just a niche luxury model?
That's the brilliant part, or at least their argument for it. As Wakeham himself noted, and I'm quoting roughly here, the more carbon we avoid through sustainable practices, the greater our margins become. Their sustainability practices become their efficiency and profit drivers. Every single avoidance strategy they implement is aimed squarely at reducing that self-imposed tax burden.
That's fascinating. So carbon avoidance literally becomes a core profit strategy, not just an environmental add-on.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's look at how that financial incentive actually drives their operational choices. What are they doing to avoid emissions?
Right. Their avoidance strategies start fundamentally with energy. Their distillery is 100% electric, no gas boilers. And it's powered by a 100% renewable energy tariff sourced from wind, tidal, solar, and nuclear power. So 0 emissions associated with their direct energy use.
Okay, that's a big chunk right there.
What else? They also utilize closed-loop chilling systems for the production process.
Closed-loop chilling?
Yeah, most distilleries cool their equipment with mains water, which is then just dumped down the drain. Huge waste. Two Drifters recirculates that cooling water constantly, avoiding massive amounts of water waste and the energy needed for intake and treatment.
Smart logistics.
For logistics, any local deliveries are handled by electric vehicles. And they apply the scrutiny to really granular sourcing choices too. Like for their signature rum, which is aged in oak, they actively chose French oak casks over American oak casks simply because the transportation emissions to get them to the UK were lower.
Wow. That shows how deep the carbon cost analysis goes into every decision.
It really does. But, as you pointed out earlier, you just cannot avoid everything, especially in a global supply chain. There are still unavoidable emissions from things like transporting the raw molasses, the glass bottle production itself is energy intensive, and of course the agricultural emissions from the sugarcane farming way back at the start.
Okay, so for that unavoidable remainder, that's where the removal comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which allows them to claim carbon negative.
Precisely. They have partnered with Climeworks, who are a leader in direct air capture technology. Climeworks has these machines that literally suck CO2 directly out of the ambient air.
Like giant vacuum cleaners for CO2.
Sort of, yeah. And Two Drifters has made a long-term commitment with them to remove over 1,000 tons of CO2 by 2032. They pay Climeworks for this service.
Okay, but just capturing it isn't enough, is it? What happens to the captured CO2?
Good question. To ensure that captured CO2 is permanently neutralized, they partner with another company called Carbfix, based in Iceland mostly. Carbfix has this amazing process where they dissolve the captured CO2 in water and inject it deep underground into basaltic rock formations. Through natural chemical reactions, the CO2 then mineralizes it, turns into solid carbonate minerals, essentially becoming stone in just a couple of years.
He turns into stone underground.
Yep. It's the ultimate permanent storage solution. It ensures that carbon can basically never escape back into the atmosphere, locked away for millennia.
That is incredible. Direct air capture combined with mineralization.
Okay. And their dedication to detail, driven by that internal carbon tax, extends all the way to their packaging, too.
Right. You mentioned packaging is a big footprint area.
Definitely. So they use lightweight, British-made glass bottles.
Ah.
Lighter weight means lower transport emissions.
Yeah.
And British-made means shorter shipping distances for the bottles themselves.
Okay.
Their tamper seals, the bit over the cork, they're 100% compostable. The cork tops are made from FSC-certified wood, meaning sustainable forestry.
And the labels.
The labels are really cool. They're made from 95% sugarcane fiber.
Sugarcane fiber.
Yeah, which is actually a waste byproduct from the molasses industry, the very same industry supplying their raw material. So it's circular. That sugarcane fiber, or bagasse, is mixed with 5% hemp and linen. So mostly waste material.
Using waste to make the label for the product made from the main material, that's neat.
Isn't it? And this overall commitment to transparency around the entire process, measuring everything, avoiding what they can, removing the rest, that's what earned them the 2023 IWSC Green Spirit Initiative Trophy. It's a big deal in the spirits world.
So they're getting recognized for it.
They are. And they publish third-party verified life cycle assessments, LCAs, and environmental product declarations, EPDs. These documents show their complete cradle-to-grave environmental impact, fully audited, so anyone can check they're working.
Okay, so let's synthesize all this data then. What's the bottom line impact?
Well, the analysis shows Two Drifters achieved a total cradle-to-grave footprint of 1.20 kilograms of CO2 equivalent per bottle before any removal takes place.
1.2 degree kilograms CO2e cradle to grave. How does that compare?
It compares very favorably. The average distillery's footprint is often estimated around 2.95 kilograms CO2e per bottle. And crucially, that average figure usually only measures cradle to gate, meaning it stops when the spirit leaves the distillery door. It doesn't include distribution, retail, end of life.
So Two Drifters is measuring a longer life cycle and starting with a much lower number even before removal.
Exactly. They account for more of the footprint and emit less than half the average to begin with, thanks to all those avoidance strategies.
And then by permanently removing that 1.2 kilograms CO2e per bottle through Climeworks and Carbfix.
They successfully zero out their operational cost effectively, and then they actually pay to remove more than that 1.20 kilograms.
Making them genuinely carbon negative.
Making them genuinely carbon negative. They've proven, arguably, that embedding radical sustainability as a core financial strategy can result in both dramatically lower emissions and a high-quality, desirable product.
It truly shows that you can and maybe must pair exceptional taste with real climate responsibility.
Couldn't agree more.
You know, this entire deep dive, it raises a really important question for you, our listeners, to maybe mull over. If a relatively small distillery, like Two Drifters, can successfully internalize the true cost of their carbon emissions and actually use that cost as a driver for efficiency, innovation, and ultimately profitability, then why shouldn't every major corporation in every sector be required or at least strongly incentivized to adopt a similar financial model? What might our global economy actually look like if carbon avoidance was universally programmed to increase margins, not decrease them? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought. And just a reminder again, please remember, drink responsibly.
Yes, please do.
Interested in finding more brands and innovators like Two Drifters, dedicated to creating a greener, more sustainable world?
Well, you can subscribe to the Seeing Green podcast wherever you access your deep dives and podcasts.
You also can visit our website and join the Seeing Green community. You can sign up at www.seeinggreen.eco.
And of course, follow us at Seeing Green Eco across all the usual social media channels. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive in the Seeing Green Spotlight series. Until next time.